My name is Tara Marino-Bro. I am adjunct faculty at Portland Community College, and I teach printmaking 1 and 2, basic design 115, 116, and 117. How I approach printmaking 1 at PCC is I do a lot of process-oriented work with my students because it's a very process-driven medium. When they get to printmaking 2, I focus more on developing their personal vocabulary within image making and printmaking. So it's really getting your feet wet, experiencing the process in printmaking, figuring out how to do a lot of different steps before you get to your final image. The form of printmaking I'm most passionate about is intaglio. It has a lot of different techniques I can use to manipulate my plate. I can get a hard line kind of effect. I can get a watercolor effect. So it has a lot of different processes within that so that I can really explore the idea of what intaglio is. Most of the work happens underneath of the surface. We etch a series of line in copper. We push ink down into those recesses that we create, and we pull a print. I think that printmaking for me was kind of an immediate love. The first time I pulled a print off of my plate, it was kind of magical. Relief printing is a process that is done either on linoleum or wood. You use a series of gouges to carve out the negative space, leaving the positive space. You have a brayer, which you roll ink over the surface, and then you run that through a press or you hand burnish it. Relief printing is great because it's one of the few printmaking processes that you can actually do at home, that you don't actually need a press. You can use a wooden spoon or a baren to actually pull your imagery. The digital world has always impacted printmaking. I think these days that the digital process is nice because students can compose their compositions within Photoshop or Illustrator. A lot of screen printers use a lot of digital means to create their imagery. I think what separates printmaking from the digital experience is that it's a hand-pulled element. So if it's running through a press, you're hand-pulling that, whereas it's different if it's more of a commercial printing experience where you hand that off to the printer. I'm always inspired by my students' creativity and their innovation and their inventiveness, and it creates a certain amount of excitement, and their excitement is really catching, and I get involved with what they're doing, and I hope that I give back to them their sense of excitement that they give to me. Printmaking tends to be a very community-involved process because, you know, you're sharing presses, you're sharing ink, and it's just a good way to have a good sense of camaraderie with my students. The most exciting part of teaching printmaking at PCC for me is when the student takes the paper off of the plate. It's not a very direct process, so that there's a period of waiting until you can actually see what the final result is. So when they take that paper off the plate, it's usually a very exciting moment for them, and I think that is one of the most exciting parts of teaching because I'm able to perpetuate that sense of excitement. I think if you're going to love printmaking, it's a pretty universal experience.